Hi ChatGPT, I need you to be brutally honest with me. Are the Jewish people a colonial project?
This might shock our world, but black people is the real Jews.
Okay, so go.
Do you know black people?
Go start wearing tzitzis. Start wearing tzitzis. Go follow the Bible. Start doing what the Bible said.
What is going on? Why do you think that the U.S. is so quick to go help Israel fight against the Palestinians? Why? They know that the Jewish people in Israel are not the original people. Oh, no, no, no. They are definitely not. The original people are black people and people of color. So why did one lady, Judith Shore, she was Israeli consul, say that the biggest threat in Israel is the younger black community? Why do they feel so threatened? Why? Because you know why? They know that the black people were the original chosen ones.
I once asked my grandma, what is the most surprising thing about Israel? Like, what was the most mind-blowing thing you saw the first time you came to Israel? And my grandma looked at me and she says, white Jews. Because if you think about it, until that point of her life, all Jews that she met were black.
Biblical Israel and modern day Israel should not be conflated. Only think of the land, not the people. Sorry. And I've also told you, look at the census. There are census posted online that show you where people came from as they emigrated to Israel around 1948, and you're going to find that most of these people must be converts to Judaism. It doesn't relegate or negate their decision to become a Jew. But when we start then saying God's promised people, who are these chosen people? They are scattered to the wind for the most part, and no one knows who they are today. Get that in your head. Don't say, oh, it's the church, because that's the other error of saying, well, the church has become the new Israel. No, Israel is Israel, and Israel will remain Israel.
The Bible warns us that Israel of today, I want you to understand this, is not Hebrew, nor of the sons of Jacob. I want to say it again. The modern day state, it's not a nation, of Israel, they are not Hebrew, neither are they the sons of Jacob. When you try to tell somebody this, it's like there's cognitive dissonance. They can't think through the statement of what you're saying. They automatically think that any person that joins the nation and becomes an Israeli is actually an Israelite of Old Testament, but that simply is not true. The Ashkenazis, they are not Hebrews. If you don't know what that is, I want you to look it up, and I want you to educate yourself. The Khazarians, they are not Hebrews at all. I want you to look it up and educate yourself and understand that the majority of the people that live in the modern day state of Israel are actually Europeans, and they do not practice anything from the Bible. The majority of them are absolutely atheist. Can you imagine a European atheist trying to argue with you and tell you, well, I am God's chosen people? And you say, but you're a European and you're an atheist. How in the world could that make you God's chosen people? In fact, in 1 Peter 2, it literally says that believers who were not of a nation are now God's chosen people by faith in Jesus Christ. That's 1 Peter 2. You need to read it. That's written to saved believers, the church, the congregation of the upright, the assembly that trusted in the Lord Jesus Christ, and it's written for all nations. Modern Israel is not Semitic. I want you to understand that.
I gotta say this. I had a lot of people come and say to me in my comments, you know, people of color are the chosen people. They are the true descendants of Israel. They are the true Israelites. You'll never get an argument out of me. I can get with that. Why can I get with that? It's really kind of common sense if you think about it. Jesus Christ himself wasn't white, right? The origin of people going all the way back to Adam and Eve, they weren't white people. We all know this. For anybody that's on here trying to deny that and thinks that Jesus or any of the people in that time were white, get a clue. Get a clue.
You don't believe that the people in the Bible are black. Well, how do you explain this? In the Life magazine from April 5th, 1968, you can look right here, the date is circled with the red, just to verify. This is an actual magazine from 1968. You will find that there are images of the children of Israel who served in slavery in Egypt. Here's another one right here. And here's another one. When you look at all of these images, what you'll find out and realize is that the children of Israel, aka the Jews or the Israelites or the Hebrews, they are all depicted as brown skin or black people in the Egyptian artifacts in archaeology. And just so that people know, this is also found in the Bible. The Bible gives the history of how the Egyptians had the children of Israel, the Israelites, in slavery. You can find this in Exodus 1 and 13. Exodus 1 and 14, and also throughout many various scriptures in the Bible that talks about the children of Israel being in Egypt, building Egypt up to a great nation, and coming out of Egypt by Moses. So now let's fast forward in time a couple hundred years to when the Israelites lived in their own land, the land called Israel. We're going to read an excerpt from this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, A History of Ancient Black Races, including the Black Hebrews. It's by Rudolph R. Windsor. This says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. What we just read is an excerpt detailing an actual event in history where the Roman armies slaughtered and destroyed Jerusalem and its people in 70 AD, 70 years after the death of Christ. You can look this up online. It's often referred to as the Siege of Jerusalem or the Jewish Rebellion in 70 AD. The Roman Empire even created coins specifically to commemorate this event when they took over the land of Israel and destroyed the Jews. If you go to Rome today, you would see this famous arch. This is called the Arch of Titus, named, of course, after Titus, General Titus, the son of Emperor Vespasian. He was the one in charge of the siege on Jerusalem, and they made this in his name. This is one of the images carved on the inside of this arch. If you look closely, you can see the people holding the Ark of the Covenant up front and the menorah, the candlestick, in the back. They literally detailed how the Romans plundered the nation of Israel. They took all their artifacts, all of their gold, all of their riches, and they took it back to Rome. So now let's keep reading back to Babylon and Timbuktu. This is very important. Stay with me. It says, during the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. Over 1 million Jews fled from Jerusalem into Africa, escaping the Roman army and the Roman slaughter. So now my question to all of you is this: if the Israelites were not black, how would they be able to flee and hide in Africa? That would have to mean that the Jews, the children of Israel, according to the Bible, in order for them to blend in amongst the Africans, they too would have to be dark-skinned people. Also, this is not the first time when Jews, Israelites, fled into Africa. When you go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 13, it tells you how Joseph and Mary, the parents of Jesus Christ, fled into Egypt from King Herod. Once again, if the Israelites were not black, they would not be able to hide in a continent of dark-skinned people. The Jews in the Bible are black. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's really enraging for anybody when you discover that your whole, belief system was a lie, especially right now, as a couple of white folks are now discovering that the true Hebrew Israelites are melanated people. Black people fit every prophecies, every prophetic description of the true Hebrew people. And a lot of people are just finding it now, especially within the white community. So many people are not happy. They are bothered by it because they cannot fathom or seem to understand exactly how a community that they have always looked down on can be the very people actually they are worshiping, especially the idea of Jesus actually being black. They cannot fathom that. Well, the truth is that, because how do you expect to hide Jesus in Egypt when he went down to Egypt if he wasn't a melanated person? Because the land of Egypt was full of melanated people. He would have actually stood out and been caught all along. But yeah, this is exactly the lie that has been pushed for centuries, but now it's crumbling under its weight. Let's take a look at this video. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're new. I'll be back.
So who are the original Hebrews?
The original Hebrews? Well, Hebrew means to cross over. When Abraham left the land of Ur, well, he crossed over, so that was his nickname they gave him. They said, oh, he's the one that left Chaldea, and he went down beyond the Nile, and his name, we call him a crossover. Hebrew, that's what it means, the one who crossed over. So like Hebrew,
the
ones who crossed over.
The Jews that are in Israel currently, are those the original Jews?
Those in Israel now came from the Khazarian, is it Khazarian? Ashkenazi? They came from Germany. Those in Israel now came from the Khazarian, is it Khazarian? Ashkenazi? They came from Germany.
They came from Germany. They came from Germany.
They adapted. The king at the time was trying to figure out if he wanted to pick Christianity or Judaism or Islam. So he realized the father Abraham of the two faiths was the way to go. So they adopted that practice. And this is what's written in that book, the 13 Tribe, where it tells. And then they hope, years and years went on and they practiced Judaism.
So they're not. So the Jews that are there currently aren't the original Jews.
Man, this stuff got me in a lot of trouble years ago.
Listen, this is a lot of trouble show.
Yeah. I mean, well,
if it's in, okay, listen, let's not say this is your belief. Since you don't, we don't want you to feel a certain way. Just say, in this book, it says this.
Yeah, okay.
How about that?
So, as far as the people that came there...
Wait a minute, who were the people that were attacking you? Were the current Jews?
I can't say on camera.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Josh, it was your people.
No, it was not that. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. But, so...
He's got a lot of knowledge, That's when people really come at you. Not for any of that weird shit people are usually paranoid about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean... It's like the reason why I don't get too deep into it is because they're called like the sons of Israel and then the children of the stranger, which would be all the other nations. And so the Torah says that if a child of the stranger takes on the ways, they'll get a name and an inheritance greater than the sons of Israel. So it's basically like all those who take hold of the I am, the Almighty.
Okay.
Then it doesn't matter where they would come from. It's just like it's about like walking in those principles.
Are the original Jews, the Jews that are there currently? And that one wasn't good enough. I was saying, are the original?
He wants to know if the original Jewish people are black. That's all he cares about. He wants to know if the original Jewish people are black. That's all he cares about.
No. I don't. I want to know, are the Jews that are there currently the Jews that were there the whole entire time? Or what you're saying that they came from Germany?
They definitely did come from Germany, and they'll admit that.
So they're not the original Jews. So therefore, they took over that land, inhabited that land.
Inherited. Inherited.
Why would they inherit it?
Tell them why they inherited it.
All right, well, oh man, it's like I crossed over from like.
He just said it. The Bible said that if you take on that religion, you will get more than the original sons of Israel.
You're coming with that.
You're not an expert.
They inherited the land.
No, okay. You can't. Listen, if you're not the person from that land, it can't be given to you. If you're not the person from that land, it can't be given to you. Can't be given to you. So I just want to know, how did they get
who?
Huh?
If God says,
well, this is what it says. It says that
Josh, obviously, you know what I learned a lot. You don't know shit, so shut the fuck up.
You know less than me.
No, that might be true.
Now, it does say that God will gather his children from the corners of the earth that have been scattered in Deuteronomy 28. I've scattered you into slavery, brought you because of not keeping my ways. So, but I'm going to bring you back and gather you, the remnant of where you are. You've been scattered everywhere.
So you're supposed to become a Hebrew again.
Okay, listen.
I will say,
so wait, we chill. So who were prior to them coming from Germany,
right.
Obviously it wasn't just vacant land.
No.
Somebody was there.
Yeah.
Who was there prior to those people coming from Germany and then becoming Hebrew or Jewish or what have you?
There was plenty of Hebrews already in the land. Black Hebrews.
Oh, okay.
They
You okay, Josh?
Ugaritic people.
Fine, we've gone over 1,000,000 times.
No, you've never said it.
White people come in and beat your ass everywhere you are.
So when they came over, so then what happened to the black people that were there?
Well, they're still there. We just don't see them on TV. Like we don't see it in the news.
There.
Yeah, they're
You're on your trip to Israel. Did you see black people there?
Yeah, my ex-sister-in-law.
the Falashas, the sons of Solomon and Sheba. Yeah, they're there too. You got
Ethiopians there. Yes.
So the original people that were in Israel were black.
Yeah.
So the original people that were in Israel were black.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know
Show's
what?
over.
I will reference.
Show's over.
White supremacy is the belief that white people are chosen. It's based on Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and the belief that Cain murdered his brother Abel, so he was cursed with brown skin. That was then carried throughout the flood with Ham. Ham was supposed to have been the father of Egypt and Africa after the ark landed wherever it landed. That was what I was taught in church. A lot of my Christian friends, a lot of early colonists believed that concept, that the curse of Cain was why people from Africa were brown-skinned. White supremacy, to me, was just, I am that pure lineage straight from Adam and Eve. I literally believed that my pure bloodline went back to Adam and Eve. Adam was handmade by God. God formed him out of the dust. And in the Bible, when it says that God made Adam in his image, to me, as a Christian and a believer in the Bible, literally, that Adam and Eve was literal, that Heavenly Father was literal. I believed that God was white. I believed that Jesus was white. And so when they made man in his image, then they made a white man. In the Mormon temple, I would watch videos that showed Adam and Eve in the garden, and Eve had long blonde hair just like me. She looked like Erica Kirk in a little suede dress that looked like something a Navajo would have worn.
Yeah, it's true. These people know who we are. They're just amazed at visually seeing us and seeing that we now know. We finally know. They're amazed at the fact that we know, to be able to look at us and be like, wow, they really know. But yeah, they know black Americans are the children of Israel. When I wear shirts like this, I mean, they know. They know. I mean, the looks I get, the stares I get, they know. And within their soul, they're like, oh, wow, they know time is up. Because spiritually, the Most High isn't just working on black people. The Most High is working on them as well. You know what I mean? So it's incredible. It really is incredible to see. And I just thank the Most High. I'm just happy to be here. Like, I just thank the Most High to be able to rise in these times. So, yeah.
Yeah, so check this out. I went to a doctor for an examination, you know, for my skin. You know, I get ingrown hair whenever I shave my skin, right? And the guy looks at my name and says, Ephraim, you're Jewish. I was like, huh? I was like, hell no, I'm Nigerian. What are you talking about? And then this guy, mind you, this guy is Jewish. White guy, Jewish, a whole 9 yards. The guy looks at me and goes, you're from Nigeria? The Igbo tribe? Like, I'm taken back and I'm like, how do you know that? Yes. It's like, yes, so you are Jewish. I'm like, no, I'm Igbo. This man looks at me and says, the Igbo tribe migrated from Egypt, which before that, they migrated from Jerusalem when the Romans dispersed the Jews. So your entire bloodline is Jewish. I was like, what are you on? What you smoking? I'm out here looking at the doctor like this man is smoking something. And then I was like, okay, tell you what, I'm just gonna go with it and I'm gonna ask my mom later, right? So I called my mom. I was like, hey, Ma. So I just got out the doctor's office and this man looked me in the face. I was like, yo, you guys are all Jewish. My mom was like, yeah, you didn't know that? I was like, huh? How am I supposed to know that? Mind you, we're Christians, right? We're Igbo and all of this. And this woman is like, yeah, our entire tribe is Jewish. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And then I started doing my own research. And turns out my name, Ephraim, is the name of an actual Jewish tribe, which is under the tribe of Joseph. Funny enough, my grandfather's name is Joseph. So I'm just mad. I'm like, yo, why didn't you guys tell? None of you guys told me this. And I have strangers now telling me my own lineage. I didn't know what to do with this information. So now I got a whole rabbit hole I have to jump through later just to find out where all of us really came from. Like, this is crazy.
Y'all don't find it weird that every single race hates black people, black Americans, even Africans? Like, it gotta be something so special that makes us hated by all. And we ain't do shit but be born.
Whoa. When you start questioning things like this, you done reach peak consciousness. The short answer is, we are the biblical ethnic Jews of the Bible, God's chosen people.
My testimony in how I, a Gentile white male who grew up in a conservative evangelical community, how I became awoken to who the true chosen people of God are, the true Hebrew Israelites really are. And to share the entire story, I will say that question. And he said, my son, they are my true chosen children. They are the true chosen people of me. And to back up that voice, he led me to Deuteronomy chapter 28, where in the first time in my life, those words bounced off and penetrated my heart, and I wept when I finally, after all these years, got an understanding to why our so-called black brothers and sisters in this country and around the world are so mistreated, and especially in this country are so oppressed. It's because they are the true chosen people of the Most High God. They are the true Hebrew Israelites that are in another Egypt of America under a 400-year curse due to the disobedience of their forefathers, and that the Jews that we have thought have been fooled by are not the true chosen people, but they are what Revelations talks about as the imposters, Jewish, like something but not the real something. But our Hebrew Israelites of today are our so-called black brothers and sisters, and that answer finally came. I wasn't brainwashed, I wasn't coerced, I wasn't in a camp, but
we are under the Jewish law in America, whether you like it or not. There's a reason why your domesticated animals are only 5 types and why there are only 5 different types sold in the stores. There's a reason why we have certain laws here. There's a reason why black people, black Americans, are the most hated and the most influential people in the world. I don't care what religion you chose. I don't care what, whatever it is you want to believe in. But you come from Israel. The man Israel, like the son of Isaac, who was the son of Abraham. Now, I am a Jew because of my mother. My mother's father, whose father was a Jew, a child of Judah, and my bloodline goes in that direction. All right. I'm not telling you what you are. I'm just simply saying history does not lie. The word of God does not lie. The Russian president did not lie. Jesus was black.
I was today years old when I found out.
Ashkenaz, the eldest of the 3 sons of Gomer, the son of Wh1te, and the name of a kingdom, referencing these same verses. Most likely it was the Scythian kingdom. And then after a few hundred years, they're lost from history. So they have 0 to do with Israel, 0 to do with Jewish people, 0 to do with Ashkenazi Jews today. 0. You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from? So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Wh1te. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Wh1te is a myth, 100% false, 0 truth to it. Just study the history, look into it, check the Bible dictionaries, encyclopedias, the archaeological works, you'll find the exact same thing.
Key takeaway points and food for thought. 1. The original Jews are defined as those from the line of Judah. Judah was the 4th son of Jacob. 2. Ashkenaz was the 1st son of Gomer and is from the line of Japheth and not Shem. 3. They labeled themselves as Ashkenaz but claimed to be from the line of Shem. If they knew their history, would this error have been made? 4. The term Ashkenazi Jew is historically incorrect, as previously mentioned Ashkenaz and Judah are from separate lineages. 5. They self-identified as Ashkenazi and were not labeled as such. Due to the confusion in establishing their true lineage, one could suggest this has been a ploy to hijack the identity of an already established people. 6. It's claimed that the Ashkenazi people have been lost to history. But, are people ever lost to history, or are they invaded, conquered and assimilated?
Every different group, every different ethnicity, every different culture, every different tribe has their own myth, their own mythology, their own creation story, their own spiritual practices. So the real issue is not groups of people practicing their mythology and worshiping their gods and shit. That ain't the issue. The real issue comes when one group's culture become history for everybody else, becomes the culture for everybody else. That is the issue. I don't want us hating the mythology and the gods and the cultures and the spiritual practices that come from tribes and people groups like the Zulu, the Bantu, the Igbo, the Yoruba, while simultaneously praising and worshiping the gods that come from the Greek and the Roman and the Israelites. Hating yourself or demonizing your own forms of worship, your own deification, and replacing it with the deification of everybody else's culture. That's the fucking problem. You know more about the spiritual practices of Jews and Romans than you do African tribes, African groups. The places, the areas, the peoples, the tribes we come from have been demonized, have been seen as unholy in place of this other shit, this white shit. You got black people saying Jesus was black. Jesus, like, you can't make this shit up. You got black people saying we the Israelites, that's us. You got black people saying Christianity was created in Africa. You got black people saying we are not African. Like, all of this shit go together. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Judaism is not ours. Christianity is not ours. Islam is not ours. This is not our mythology. This is not our culture. These are not our gods. If you gonna be spiritual, if you gonna worship a god, if you gonna deify a culture, deify the culture where your people originated from. That's all I'm saying.
You think that the people over in Israel, that those that war-torn land, that those are the true Hebrew Israelites? That in 1948, that's what's God gathering his people and making Israel a nation again? Because no, that ain't going to happen until the end of days when he gathers his people from the four corners of the earth. We're coming in and makes a multitude. Majority of them, they're all white. We got a problem here now. We got a problem. Because you change the people, you most certainly change the message. You change all the prophecy. You change all the prophecy. That's like when people try to interpret Daniel and all these things, they fall off in 1948. Because you put them as the people of the book, such as the Christians put those Jews as the people of the book, as the ancient Israelites. I mean, they're calling Abraham a Jew for crying out loud. Oh, but so I'm going to cut this short. It's just interesting. I don't expect you all to hear me anyway. But you Israelites out there, you be very careful when you have a man in front of you that won't address who the true Hebrew Israelites are. They're up to something. And you know that those people over there in that land of Jerusalem right now, that's a synagogue of Satan being trodden down by the Gentiles. See, you got to know the book. And you change the people, you're changing all perspective and prophecy. And anybody that's supporting those people over there as the people of the book, you watch out, because they're supporting the devil. And that's just the truth. And you go and mock and jeer, and you won't sit there and you won't answer the question, who are the true Hebrew Israelites then? You little panel out there that sit there and make these videos. The Bible is all about nations. So maybe that's where your heart's wicked and wrong. See, you just ain't being taught right. You avoid these things, and it's what you won't say that's going to condemn you. You need to know who the true Hebrew Israelites are. You need to go and study. I don't need to make this go 40 more minutes trying to teach you who the true Hebrew Israelites are. There's enough messages and teachings out there on it. And if you go read your Bible, you'll clearly know who they are. You can't hide a white Jesus in Egypt and expect him to blend right in. You ain't going to happen. You ain't going to mistake Paul for an Egyptian if Paul's a white person. You ain't going to have Moses be able to walk right or be carried right into the house of Pharaoh and pass as one of his sons if he's a white baby. It ain't going to happen. So let's just get to the bottom line here, okay? They're brown-skinned people. Simple. But then you got the Christians out here that they went and the Catholics had changed that. They whitewashed the whole thing. And then you got people who are supposed to be getting back to the book, back to the truth. They're still trying to whitewash it. Yeah, maybe you should go home, not only read your Bible, but apply it to your life.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for tuning in. All right, let's be honest for a second, because God cannot be white or black. He doesn't absolutely have a human physical body, so you cannot box God in a human being likeness. In fact, God is a spirit. Now, with that said, Jesus Christ, we all know that it's God who came down in human form. Now, a lot of people like to ask themselves, the type of Jesus that everybody knows is the type that was pushed on paintings, sculpture, on TV shows, movies, and it has always been a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. And that's exactly what everybody believed it to be, including myself actually. But it's really funny how we never stop to actually think about it, because how did cameras capture exactly how Jesus looked back then? Because back then in BC there was no such things as technology. So even the people who are portraying him to be that way, how did they know? You can only refer to history for you to learn the truth. And the truth is, at some point, Jesus ran from Israel to Egypt, and he was able to hide there. Now, Egypt is a land in Africa that was filled with melanated people, black people. So how can you hide among people that who do not look like you? Because if I wanted to hide from my own, maybe people looking for me, would I really go to Japan? Because I would stand out in Japan. Would I really go to China? I would still stand out in China. Would I really go to places like Poland? I would really stand out in Poland because majority of the people there do not look like me. So if I wanted to hide, I would go to a melanated country, maybe in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, for instance. I would actually blend in very well. Not only Jesus, even Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian to the point where he became ruler of Egypt. Why? Because he looked like the Egyptians. So that shows you that the Israel of that time, absolutely, the people are brown people. They looked just like, the melanated people of today, maybe with some few distinctions, but they were melanated people. And I say distinction because melanated people have the largest DNA variant on the planet, because they have just genetic variation that is wider than any other place on this planet. Because a melanated person from West Africa is not genetically the same as the melanated person from East Africa. Their genetic makeup is so diverse. So the diversity of genes and DNA within the melanated communities is quite huge, absolutely huge. So you can have melanated people who look like Sudanese, tall people, dark people. You can have melanated people like the Khoisan people who talk in the clicking sound, that sound. Those people actually look like Asian people. You can have West Africans who kind of look like Black Americans. You can have North Africans. You can have East Africans who kind of look like they are Black Arabs or something. So the genetic makeup is actually huge. So that shows you that yes, he might not really look like the general or the generic melanated person of today, but they were melanated people. Maybe they were melanated people looking like maybe Ethiopians, for instance. Who knows? But the thing is, Jesus was a brown man. Moses was a brown man. The true Hebrew Israelites are being exposed to have been actually melanated people, and a lot of people do not like it, especially those who like the idea and the narrative that they were part of their community, that Jesus was a blonde white man with blue eyes. But yeah, everything is actually shaking up and crumbling, and as they say, the truth might take a long time to come out, but eventually it prevails because it is the truth, so you cannot actually hide it. And in this episode, we have seen most of actually the people who are revealing this are members of their own community, not even actually melanated people, because if it's melanated people, you can say that it's delusion, but it's members of their own communities, pastors from their own communities, absolutely revealing this to the world. But it's something that a lot of people already knew. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about today's episode? Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and as always, see you on the next one.